Hello and welcome to PMI's Uncommon Sense podcast, tools to improve your work forever. I'm Susanna Clark, Managing Partner with PMI, the performance improvement consulting and training firm. Our Uncommon Sense podcast is a 15-minute conversation with our expert consultants. They talk a lot of common sense, although much of it is not common practice. And that's what this podcast is all about. We want you to be inspired to improve your business through learning more about the tools which can help you succeed and grow. So tell me, what's made you choose reporting and reviewing performance as the topic you'd like to talk about?
Good question, Suze. I think it's something that we've probably all experienced in one sense or another. It's probably part of our jobs to review, be it daily, weekly, monthly. And working with various clients, I get the sense that often they're not getting the most out of the work that they're doing around reporting and reviewing.
So, where you go, tell us all about it.
Yeah, well, what I see a lot of, and of course this isn't sort of everybody, but what I see a lot of is when we're reviewing performance, typically what we're doing is we're focusing upon performance in comparison with targets, or we are reviewing performance against the previous period. So if this was weekly, it's what do we do this week versus what did we do last week? Or indeed, it might be the same period in the previous year. And the basic question we're asking is performance good or bad? Did we meet target? Are we doing better than we did last week? And I find in doing that sort of comparison, typical kind of statistics or analysis we do, things like percentages within and outside of target, average performance against target, the delta or difference from the previous period. And often we report in traffic light charts, so nice coloured measures. Green, we're doing well. Red, we've got problems.
Yeah.
The problem with all that, Suze, is it's a really short-term binary view of the world, which leads us to be almost surprised week in, week out. And we're waiting for the results, Some weeks is good, we've achieved the target, we're better than we were last time, so we're improving. And we celebrate, and I think secretly we probably breathe a sigh of relief. And then other weeks, of course, we don't meet target. Performance seems to have deteriorated, and of course then we've got problems, and we are under pressure then to provide some kind of narrative which it explains the reasons why and what actions we're going to take to resolve the situation. The problem is, ultimately, with this kind of approach, this short-term, are we doing okay or are we not doing okay, is I feel we're in this habit of checking performance rather than studying performance.
Okay.
What's the numbers telling us? What are we learning about our systems and processes and what's causing the customer experience?
Often it's the norm to see people working in that way. So what needs to be different then, Warren?
Yes, that is one question we want to answer. But actually, it's around variation in our performance. And how is performance varying over time? And without that understanding, which leads us to this short-term view all the time, we don't really recognize the full extent of performance over the long term. So we don't really recognize exactly what customers are experiencing.
Okay.
If we don't recognize and understand variation in our process, then the other things are we don't understand the consistency of performance. Is performance remaining stable over time? Is it trending? Is it deteriorating? Is it getting better? Because again, we're just taking that short-term chunk view of
like a
everything.
snip almost.
It's a snip. And is it a good snip or is it a bad snip? Rather than what's going on over time. And the final thing, of course, is if we don't look at performance over time, if we're only ever looking at a snip against target, how do we know if that performance is normal? In other words, it's kind of what the process typically produces, or whether we're actually experiencing abnormal performance. And the really interesting thing is how we're doing against target is not the right definition of whether performance is normal or not. I think the other problem with that approach, and this is going back to this kind of binary view of, we're either good or bad. It's not really given us a profound understanding of what our customers are experiencing.
Okay.
It's not real life to assume that customers are either extremely satisfied, i.e. within target, or deeply dissatisfied. And also, when we compare average performance against some kind of specification or target, very few customers experience average. They experience the variation. And of course, what customers love is consistency. Behind every customer requirements sits the concept of consistency. Yes, I want it fast, but I want it consistently fast. So therefore, what we're recognizing is it's shades of grey. So we're back to this concept of variation again. So if we don't understand variation in our performance, not only do we have an impoverished view of performance, it may inhibit us from actually resolving our problems and improving effectively. Without understanding variation from the perspective of statistical theory, in particular, we don't understand, we don't recognize that there are different types of variation, in particular the concept of common cause variation. And when we don't understand common cause variation, then, every result that's outside of target, every change in performance, every customer dissatisfaction or every customer complaint is seen as being the result of some kind of special event with a specific reason that we can attribute to it. We then react, and what we try and do is to find that reason and to adjust accordingly. The problem with that is most often there isn't a reason. These results are caused by the random interaction of many variables within the process due to its design, due to its inputs, due to its operation. And so therefore, in making those adjustments, we're not actually tackling the actual root causes of performance. And so what we end up doing is either wasting a lot of time, or we're adding adjustments and change to our process that actually causes more variation and makes matters worse, not better.
And both of those that you just described also add layers of frustration to both the people and the organisation that thinks that this whole change improvement thing isn't working for us.
And that's a really good point. And so people are out there with their best efforts, they're actually tampering. They're making matters worse, not better, because the lack of understanding of what the change in the numbers are actually mean.
So, Warren, do you have an example that you could share just to help people put this into the context?
I do actually. So many years ago, working with a sales team, and we were talking about the variation in sales, performance, and we were talking about this concept of tampering. And the sales director had an epiphany at that point and told me a story about at one time when he was the sales manager, that particular month, sales had dropped, below target. Now, in truth, there were many factors that was influencing that drop in sales, many market conditions. But he felt under pressure to respond. Yeah, we were below target, of course. And of course, you also need to ask the question, well, was the target correct in the first place? But react, he must. So he got a sales team together and explained the situation and asked for solutions. One of the salespersons suggested doing a promotion. So taking popular products, discounting them. So they went with that.
But that's not the answer to why sales were down. That's an answer to how could we improve next time, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. How can we adjust the situation? What can we do to get the figure going upwards? Nothing to do with, well, what's the root causes of the situation? Why has there been a drop? So they done this sales promotion, which was a spectacular success. So next month, sales improved. In fact, they smashed the target the following month. But of course, if you think about it, particularly in a business-to-business situation, what they'd done is consumed the following month's demand.
Yeah.
Because customers thought, this is such a good price, I'm going to buy more than I would normally buy, more than I need. I'm going to stock it.
Yeah.
So, of course, what happened the next month?
Down again.
Sales crashed even further than the first month because, of course, they'd already consumed the natural demand that was in the marketplace. So he got his team back together, asking, what can we do? And guess what they've done?
Go on. Another promotion?
They done. Well, the last one worked so well, why wouldn't we do it again?
Yeah.
And this time, let's make the pricing cut even more aggressive. And of course, next time, even better results than before. And then, of course, what you're creating is a sort of boom wave effect.
Boom bust. Yeah.
Boom bust. And what you're doing is you're increasing variation.
Love that story, Warren. So, in summary, reporting and reviewing performance, what would you say?
So, in summary, how we are performing against requirements is obviously an important question. It's a fundamental question that we need to be able to answer. But we must be able to answer it in the right way, taking into account rather than ignoring variation in performance.
Thanks very much. Look forward to seeing you all next time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. You can find more episodes of our Uncommon Sense Tools to Improve Your Work Forever in our Knowledge Hub on our website, or, of course, your favourite podcast platform. And do subscribe so you never miss an episode. Don't forget to check out the show notes for this episode, where you'll find links to more content on this topic, which includes webinar recordings, toolbox guides, blogs, and infographics, and our training page. You can always drop us a line on team@pmi.co.uk and arrange a time to have a call to talk about how these tools can help you in your organisation. We'd really love to hear from you.